Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about vacationing here in Thailand. So the first thing you may want to know is what you should bring here to Thailand as far as what to wear. Just keep in mind that it is hot here in Thailand year round. There are certain times of years that are hotter than others. The months of March, April, and May are the hottest. So if you are coming in those months, just get prepared for a new definition of hot. But it is hot all year round. That being said, you may want to bring cooler clothes. Keep this in mind though, even though you want to stay nice and cool, you may still want to bring some long sleeves and some long pants, something that's cool and still breathes, because the Thai sun will burn you to a crisp. And if you're showing your skin every day here in Thailand while you are on vacation, you will soon regret it, even if you have some of the best sunblock known to mankind. That being said, also make sure you bring an adequate hat, sunglasses, everything you need to keep yourself safe from the sun. Now, when your flight lands here in Thailand, more than likely you're going to be extremely exhausted, not only from the flight, lack of sleep, but from the time difference. So you're going to have jet lag. So let's talk about some things that you could do to make your first 24 hours here in Thailand bearable. So the first thing I would say is pick your hotel or accommodations wisely. I would say you should use Agoda to try to find your hotel. It's the one that we use here in Thailand to find accommodations. There's a link down in the description below. If you're not familiar with Agoda, it will get you right on there. So from Agoda, try to find an accommodation that will pick you up from the airport and take you to your hotel. Therefore, you have somebody waiting on you when you get off that plane and you finally get through immigration and you get all your luggage. Somebody's holding a sign up. You don't have to think about it. You could just get on there and be done with it, versus having to figure out your own transportation and negotiating the fees associated with that and everything else when you're tired and groggy and really all you want is a shower, some food, and to get some sleep. When you're at the hotel and before you get on your transportation to your hotel, make sure to go to one of the ATM machines and get some baht, the currency of Thailand, out. If you get a big lump sum out, the max it allows you to get out, you will not waste a whole lot of money using the ATM machine to get baht. Where the ATM machine will end up getting you is if you keep going back to it time and time again to get more baht out of it. I find that it is cheaper to get the money out of the ATM than it is to use one of the currency converter booths that are all around. You will find ATM machines all over all of the tourist areas, but again, try to get a big lump sum out each time you go, therefore you're not going back multiple times. And while you're still at the airport, you may or may not want to get your SIM. What I would suggest doing nowadays, they have the eSIM. If you look down in our description below, there is a company called Airlo, and they do the eSIM. So you could just buy an eSIM for Thailand, have it ahead of time. It'll activate when you get here in Thailand. Make sure you follow all of the instructions and you're good to go. You're going to pay a lot less doing it that way than if you get one in the airport. Just so you know, if you buy a SIM card in the airport, you will pay a lot more than if you're getting a SIM card just about at any other store or in the mall here in Thailand. So the SIM cards are more expensive in the airport, but a lot of people want to get it there just for the convenience of it. Now, keep in mind, here in Thailand is not the safest place on earth. As a matter of fact, there's a saying here, safety comes last. So remember, there's a high probability, depending on the activity you're doing and everything else here, including the driving, that there could be a way that you will sustain an injury. So be very careful here. If you have little ones, be very careful of them too. And I would suggest that you do have some sort of travel insurance. It's a real thing. So you can actually get travel insurance for the amount of time that you're going to be here in Thailand. I have a link down below in the description, a couple of companies you can pick from where you can see how much travel insurance would be for you during your vacation here in Thailand. So if something bad happened, hopefully it won't, But if it does, you're fully covered. You can go to any of the hospitals and be taken care of, and you don't have to wire your relatives back at home to bail you out because you've got no money to pay your medical bills, because they're not letting you leave this country until those bills are paid. So make sure you check out that link in the description below. That being said, Thailand is also not very friendly to people with disabilities, such as being in a wheelchair. There's not a lot of areas here that are wheelchair accessible. So just be prepared to have some patience if you are in a wheelchair or have some other disabilities, because Thailand is not very accommodating when it comes to people with disabilities. Public transportation is different depending on where you're at here in Thailand. If you're in Bangkok, they got all kinds of transportation, buses, trains, cabs, you name it. If you're up here where I'm at in Chiang Mai, things are different. They got things called song taus. Yes, they got tuk-tuks everywhere. There's all kinds of different modes of transportation depending on where you're at. So the first thing you need to know is there is some companies kind of like Uber. So it's an app that's on your phone. I'm going to give you the names of a couple of them that I would suggest to you, and I'm going to let you know why. The most popular one is Grab, G-R-A-B. You can download that to your phone and set up your credit card and use Grab. Works just like Uber. So there you go. You can use that all over Thailand. There's another one called InDrive, I-N space D-R-I-V-E. So InDrive is another one that I would recommend, and they are a little bit cheaper. And I believe that runs on a cash basis. I would highly recommend them, so check that one out. You may want to have multiple ones on your phone in case you try to use Grab and maybe no one's available. You could go to InDrive, see if someone's available on that. There's another one called Bolt. That would be last on my list. I've had some problems with Bolt, but that is one you can use as a backup if you need to. Also, like I said, there's many other forms of transportation depending on where you are at. There are cabs, there are trains, there are buses, depending on where you're at. So just research the city and area you're going to be at so you can make your decision on how you're going to get around wisely. Now, if you plan on renting a car or a motorcycle, let's talk a little bit of the legalities on that. So if you're planning on riding a motorcycle, you do need to have a international motorcycle license, or you need to have a Thai motorcycle license. But if you're vacationing here, you probably don't have that. They will still rent to you whether you have a motorcycle license that works here or not. Just know that. However, all over Thailand are a thing called police checkpoints. And they would love nothing more than to find a foreigner here that does not have the proper license to drive a motorcycle here in Thailand. That being said, also helmets are a law. It is required to wear it here. You will see many Thais not wearing a helmet. However, it is a law here. And again, if you're a foreigner and you don't look like you're Thai and you're driving around without a helmet, lo and behold, they will pull you over at one of these checkpoints and you will be fined. So there's multiple things you could be fined for. No helmet, wrong license. Just keep that in mind. The penalty in baht for these things vary. Just know if you're not going to have the proper license or helmet, you may need to pay a fine. And remember, if you did buy insurance, travel insurance for Thailand, and you're not following the laws, I really doubt they're going to cover you. So make sure everything you do, you're within the correct laws for Thailand so your insurance will cover you. Another thing on renting the motorcycle is they're going to ask you for a deposit, and they will either ask for a cash deposit or your passport. Keep your passport with you. If you do get pulled over, the police are going to want to see that passport. They're going to want to make sure you have a visa and you are eligible to be in the Kingdom of Thailand. You're supposed to keep your passport with you at all times, so make sure you do the cash deposit for your rental motorcycle, and make sure you do a video walk around when you rent it and document all the scratches and dings. Therefore, when you return it, they don't try to charge you for the dings and scratches that were already there. If you are going to rent a car, just remember that they drive, especially USA people, they drive on the other side of the road, on the other side of the car. If you're coming from some place like England, feel right at home. They drive just like you do as far as on that side of the road and that side of the car. Just know that driving here in Asia, especially Thailand, is a little bit more robust than you might be used to. You're going to see things you've never seen before. So just keep that in mind if you plan on renting a vehicle here. I would definitely look at the license requirements as well, and make sure to go slow, and hopefully you'll get used to the traffic. Know that the medical facilities here in Thailand are top notch, and a lot of the doctors have been schooled in places like Europe and the United States. I can't say enough about how good the healthcare is here, as well as pharmacies. So if you find yourself over here and you need some sort of prescription, bugs, more than likely you're going to be able to waltz into any of the pharmacies and get exactly what you need. So don't worry about packing too much. You'll probably find what you need in case you get food poisoning or anything like that. And a lot of the pharmacies speak English. And if they don't, just kind of pull up the type of medicine you would try to find in your home country, show a picture of that to the pharmacist, and they will try to match it with something in Thailand that's equivalent. Let's talk a little bit about eating out once you're here in Thailand. There are some things that you need to get used to that will hopefully prevent you from getting aggravated. For one, they don't bring out all the food at the same time. So just know that's going to happen. I see so many foreigners get irritated when one person gets their food and the other person doesn't get theirs for about 15 more minutes, and then the other person maybe 5 more minutes after that. It's just a thing here. And if you want your bill, you're going to need to ask for it. If you need the waiter or waitress for anything, you're probably going to have to wave them down. And when it comes to tipping, especially US people, tipping is not normal here. I mean, if you tip somebody, that's well and great. It's not required. A lot of Europeans are going to come up here. They don't have as big of a tipping culture as the United States. They're not going to tip because it's not really a tipping society. Do Thais tip? Sometimes. Sometimes they don't. Just depends on the restaurant, the caliber of the restaurant, all those good things. But if you do come here as an American, don't feel like you've got to tip all over the place. It is not required. Also keep in mind about food here is that it is relatively spicy. So if you are a person who does not like spicy food, make sure you tell your waiter or waitress. And I'm going to give you a few Thai words. Pet, like P-E-T, that means spicy. And if you say my, kind of like M-Y, my pet, that means you don't want spicy, my pet. And if you want it to just be a little spicy, say pet nit noi, nit noi. So pet nit noi is a little spicy. However, if you really don't like spicy food, I just say my pet. So I hope these hints were helpful for you, and I hope you have a great vacation into Thailand. If this was at all helpful, please give the video a like. If you feel so inclined, buy us a coffee. There's a link down in the description. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. We got more videos about Thailand and even moving to Thailand on our channel, so make sure to check that out. I'm going to end this video by saying thank you in Thai, which is Khap Khun Khap.